Thanks for joining us this evening. Right off the top of the show, we are checking in with the chief meteorologist, Jordan Dressman, for weather. Jordan, what a difference 24 hours make. Severe weather throughout last night. What have we learned, rather?
We've learned a couple of different things over the last several hours now that quieter conditions have finally settled into North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, and the National Weather Service has had some opportunities to go out about North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, and assess the damage. So far, we have 5 confirmed tornadoes across North Alabama. Now, it is likely that some of the EF ratings could potentially change. It's also likely that we could add more to this list. Additional surveys have to be done over the next coming days into the weekend, and then maybe even as we head into the early part of next week. The strongest tornado so far in EF3 in Limestone County, and then in EF0 is the weakest tornado so far, Rainbow Mountain, and then over in the Madison area. We'll talk more about these and then your weekend forecast in much greater detail here in just a bit.
Thank you, Jordan. Jackson County, as you mentioned, was one of those areas that was hit hard by a tornado as a result of yesterday's storm. For Henniker resident Wanda White, a lesson she learned in 2011 is why she's here today. Our Ken McCoy sat down with White and has her story.
How long have you been here in the area?
We've lived here 12 years.
And have you ever has anything like this ever happened in this area?
Yes, in 11.
Having lived through a situation like this before, for White, yesterday's tornado,
it wasn't the same as the one that come on 40. That one was a whistling, you know, and then you heard everything. This one just came. I mean, you could hear it popping the trees, the wind blowing, but there wasn't the whistling sound. And then we started hearing other things break apart and fly, and it racked on. You know, you think it's a long time, but we knew everything was gone when we heard the trees breaking and stuff.
And much was lost.
We have 30 acres. He had a hay barn. He had a workshop. We had 2 more buildings on this side, and they're all gone. They're all gone.
But the 2011 storms also brought a lesson.
As soon as the storm shelter, we hear the siren. In the shed we go. In the shelter we go. I won't be caught without some shelter ever again.
With the essentials and family memories, this shelter
that saved our lives. And I know that saved our lives. You know, not just mine, my husband, my nephews. That's the only reason we're alive, is for being in the storm shelter. There's no way we could have survived this.
I know you can't really describe the magnitude of what's lost here, but where do you begin to pick up the pieces?
I don't know. I don't know. We did have a house. We had to put a roof on and do work, but we had a house. We don't have one now, so I really don't know. That'll be later on. That's not today's decision. I mean, you'll come back here, you'll buy something somewhere else, you start over.
White knows that part is easier said than done.
We just have to. I mean, you know, there ain't nobody gonna bring me no bed out here and sit it there and say, here you go, you got something started. We'll just have to take one day at a time and piece it back together.
For Fox 54 News, I'm Ken McCoy.
Thank you, Ken. Wishing Wanda and her family the best in their recovery. All right, well, one popular spot in Scottsboro, known for selling lost luggage, got hit with some damage too. The unclaimed baggage's bargain basement was among the areas affected. Store leaders kept watch on the store as the storm passed through last night and responded in the early hours of the morning to start assessing the damage. The public relations manager says she's thankful everyone was okay.
The bargain basement, which is another area of our store, will be closed today, and until we're able to evaluate the damage over there and get that solved, I know there's roof damage and some flooding on the lower level over there. We have a house here on our property that is home to several of our office buildings that received a lot of damage, but we are just ultimately grateful that, you know, everybody was safe here, that there wasn't more damage.
Well, for an update on store hours, check the store's Facebook page. Jackson County again was one of the harder hit areas last night, and emergency management officials there have created an easy way for residents to submit damage reports. A citizen self-reporting form has been posted to allow residents to submit reports as quickly as possible. This information will help officials determine whether a tornado, straight line winds, or other severe weather caused the damage. To learn more about it, visit fox54.com. Well, here in the Huntsville metro area, we've seen a bit of severe weather too last night. City leaders gave us a look at the damage response, which includes cleanup efforts. Our Simon Williams explains more.
Preliminary reports from the National Weather Service just a few minutes ago indicated there was a confirmed tornado in the 5 Points area and southeast Huntsville.
The morning after severe weather hit the city, cleanup got underway. The Twickenham and Old Town neighborhoods saw some of the worst damage from what eventually became identified as an EF1 tornado. Downed trees, downed power lines, and some structural damage, but thankfully no known injuries.
According to HIMSI, there weren't any transports to the hospital due to the storms.
Cleanup began first thing Thursday morning. There was enough notice from meteorologists that preparations were already in motion by the time a response was needed.
What happened last night, and really kind of, if you back up from there, what happened throughout the day is a classic example of what we had to be prepared for and the way in which we prepare.
Huntsville Utilities says at its peak, 10,000 people lost power, about 1.5% of customers. And as of 4:30 Thursday afternoon, 165 outage sites were live, affecting about 3,300 people. 38 crews representing Huntsville Utilities, local contractors, and other municipalities are responding to several different situations.
Public Works, the city staff, Huntsville Utilities, and our partners are focused on the public infrastructure, and then our citizens have to focus on their own private yards.
While we are focused in the 5 Point area, we are not focused exclusively there. We have crews working issues across the county.
If you've got a problem in your neighborhood but don't know which city service to contact, your city council member can be a liaison.
You got one mayor and you got 5 council members. We're all pitching in together. We want to help get this thing cleaned up, and we are so lucky to have such a wonderful group of department heads and employees who are out in the trenches making things happen very quickly.
For more information, visit our website, fox54news.com. In Huntsville, Simon Williams, Fox 54 News.